Thank you, everybody, for joining for another NenTot Tuesday in 2026 in anticipation of the next NenTot Check at land sale up in Fairbanks, or Nenana, Alaska. Today, we're talking about how to get a custom soil report. I'm going to show you how to use a state mapping program called Alaska Mapper to pull a GIS file that you can then use in Web Soil Survey, a program provided by the Natural Resource Conservation Service, to get custom soil reports for lands across the United States of America. Today I have Mike Sousa. Hey, Mike, do you want to say hello today?
Yeah, hi, my name is Mike Sousa. I'm the soil survey lead in Wasilla, Alaska, and I was the one responsible for updating the mapping in the Nenana survey area.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start by sharing my screen. I've just come to Google, and I'm going to Google Alaska Mapper. The State of Alaska program should come up right there. And I am going to go fairly quickly through some of these processes, but you have the ability to pause and rewind the video, so please do so at your heart's content. There are also probably help documents to learn more about the functions of Alaska Mapper. Again, I'm doing some specific things today. Please feel free to reach out to me in the future, and I will give you a private lesson. I offer that to citizens interested in farming in Alaska. So we're going to go ahead and launch Alaska Mapper. Now we have all these different layers and preset functional maps. I like to use the land estate map, which is publicly available. It's going to load a bunch of pre-turned on layers. So one of the first things I'm going to do is show you how to turn off some of those layers that we don't necessarily need for what we're trying to do today. I also like to switch from the national imagery to the Alaska high resolution. Right here on the layered names, I think this is visualized, so I turn them all off. And then I go down to land disposal, and I like to turn them all on because I'm generally looking at lands. And at this point, I can kind of zoom in to my area of interest, and I know Nenana is kind of here in the middle of the state. So we'll slowly move in. And of interest, these blue areas are either new inventory or reoffered parcels. So as the internet catches up here, here, let me quickly show you our proposed area of interest in Nenana. This area over here in green, this was the phase 1A that we offered in 2022, and we are going to reoffer a 21-acre parcel, a 33 and a 66-acre parcel, and the new inventory, phase 1B, we're offering a 125-acre parcel and 80. The acreages are listed here, and these are all road accessible. All of these parcels are road accessible, and all these parcels have power in 1A. We have a plan to bring power to 1B, but that has not been completed yet. We're going to offer additional parcels in 1B. We anticipate in 2028 after we construct the roads and bring in power. We found that people do much better when they have power and accessible roads. But okay, I'm going to go back to Alaska Mapper. Like I said, here are the parcels, the blue ones I said we're going to reoffer. And today I've got a specific interest in this 125-acre one, but you can do this process for any other parcel you'd like to. Up here where it says point, I'm just going to drop a point on the object of interest, which is this 125-acre parcel. I'm going to run a query. And this is going to bring up all sorts of information besides just that parcel, the section grid, the overall land project, recording district survey boundaries. But what we're looking at is this available disposal. And this button right here, export results as spatial data. Now this is the key. And I'm going to email it to myself, erik.johnsonalaska.gov. And I'm going to submit it. And that file is coming to me via email. And while we wait for that, Mike, I was hoping you could talk about some of the general soils people are going to find in the NenTot jacket. So I'm going to stop sharing and let Mike give a little presentation.
Sure thing, Mo. Thank you very much. I'm going to get switched over here. Okay, so this survey update happened in 2021, or at least the field work did. And my map kind of here is what Mo was showing you earlier. You can see the different phases outlined, phase 1A, phase 1B. That maybe the lines are a little bit different just because they have changed a little bit in the last 5 years. The one thing that I wanted to point out here is all these little teal dots are places where we physically took soil samples. And this update is part of a much larger area that was mapped back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So there was already data here, but we kind of came in and did a little bit higher resolution data capture for this project specifically. You'll notice probably that there are some plots that there aren't soils point data from. And what we do is we use what's accessible, what's feasible with our crew numbers, and we will extrapolate the ideas that we find in some of these areas to other ideas based on what the imagery signature looks like, the vegetation on the ground, the topography, and things like that. So even if there isn't a soil dot in the parcel that you're curious about, the soil map should still be updated and contain good, useful information. So yeah, our end goal here was just to get targeted interpretations for agricultural potential, and Mo's going to get into that a little bit later. So I just want to show you a couple of the common soils that we found out there, so you can kind of see what they are here before you go out there and look for yourself. The main one was the Koyukuk soil. It's the most common soil that we observed here, and it's a well-drained, silty soil. And the silt loam layer is normally greater than 100 centimeters thick. So this is a lot of silt loam that was probably blown in and deposited over many, many years. The next most common soil we found was the Nenana soil, aptly named. This accounted for more than 20% of the phase 1 area. Super similar to the Koyukuk. It just has a little thinner layer of the silt. Very silty still, seemingly a productive soil and well drained. The Bolio soil is probably the one that folks are most concerned about as far as agricultural potential or any type of engineering or construction. These accounted for a fairly small area in the actual phase 1, less than 5%. And these are the poorly drained, tussocky, kind of wet, permafrost affected soils. So all of these did have permafrost at depth, and they pond frequently in the spring for long durations of time. But again, these were pretty small as far as like total geospatial area, and you would be able to tell probably just by driving by which areas are going to be these wet, tussocky areas, the ones that are full of cotton grass where no trees are growing.
And that's generally should not be developed for agriculture, just generally.
Yeah, so these ones are soils that you would have to take really special precaution to do pretty much anything. Time will tell. Some people think that if things get warmer and the permafrost recedes there for whatever reason because of the fires, or that some of them may end up drier than they are now. But it's kind of one of those things where even a professional on the ground would have a hard time telling you definitively if these are going to dry out or get wetter. Okay, so just a quick little ecological background here. So the vegetation on both the two soils that I talked about, the Koyukuk and the Nana soils, we found that if they did not recently burn, that there was still black spruce forests on them. And if they did burn in 2009, much of them are now stands of aspen regrowth with tall willow shrub. So both of them seem to have pretty similar soils. Maybe there's a little bit less organic matter on the ones that did burn, but yeah, these were some of them were affected and some of them weren't. The fire has like little fingers that went out in different areas depending on the wetness and the topography. Every time I scroll, I advance 2 slides, but okay, here we are. So the other thing too that we found is that some of these depressions in phase 1 that looked like they were going to be extremely wet from the imagery and you wouldn't want to do anything here have dried. Some of them are now drained, but some of them aren't. So these depressions that you see, like if you see this type of signature on the image or the parcel you're concerned about, you should go out there and investigate, and you'll be able to tell fairly quickly if this is still a wet, ponded thing or if this is kind of dried up a little bit. These also represent a very, very small amount of acreage in the phase 1 area, but they do exist and they're kind of interesting, so I wanted to show them to you. If there's any specific questions about the survey, again, how to access, what Mo's showing you guys how to use Alaska Mapper. If you guys have questions about how to use Web Soil Survey, please feel free to call me. I would actually really enjoy showing somebody how to use it. So with that, I'm going to send it back to Mo.
Speaking of Web Soil Survey, let's go ahead and see how to utilize it. So again, I'm back here at Google, and I'm going to type in Web Soil Survey, and I'm betting you that it comes up as our first result. So I'm going to go ahead and follow that link. Oh, and I did receive that email. Let me go ahead and start with that email real quick. Here is the information I got from Alaska Mapper. Comes in as an email. I'm going to retrieve my data. So I'm going to go ahead and start Web Soil Survey. And in my area of interest, I'm going to create it from that zip file that I just downloaded, that shape file. So I'm going to choose it from my downloads. And I believe it is this one here. Since it was downloaded today, I'm opening it up. And yes, indeed, it is taking us to the NenTot Shacket area. And that looks like the 125-acre parcel that I wanted to see. Typically, I always first look at the soil map, and it's going to tell you all the different types of soils. A couple of Koyukuk silt loams, an Anana silt loam, a Richardson. Here's a Tolchak bolio complex and another complex. And I'm going to put all of that into my shopping cart. So what we're doing is we're creating a report of all these interpretations and the soil information, and the NRCS has this, the shopping cart, it's all free. But so I've put that first little, just the soil data in there. And then under Soil Data Explorer, I know that I want to look at one of the land classification component or reports. And I always download the non-irrigated capability class. And this is just kind of a general suitability for agriculture. And I want to see the rating. This yellow stuff is good. This slightly green is I think class 4. The yellow is class 3. And this down here, it's a higher class. All the information on what the classes mean is going to be downloaded in the report. So I'm just going to keep time going, I'm just going to add it to my shopping cart. And then I also, generally under land management, I pull this the special kind of wetland that in Alaska, it's just, the potential of it being having permafrost or having, red is no permafrost, and I think green would be definitely permafrost. So this yellow means that it has a slight low potential. So again, I'm just going to add that to my shopping cart. Okay. Hey, Mike, what are some other cool interpretations that somebody might want to see?
Yeah, so
or
I
run?
think that, so when I normally go through Web Soil Server, what I'm showing folks, I do notice that there is a ton of interps. So like Mo has kind of been opening up these menus and just checking them out, I would definitely recommend doing that. There's probably 150 or more interpretations. So just opening these up and checking them out and seeing what's in there and reading about what they actually are, you could maybe get some information that we're not even going to tell you about that you want to know. But one of the ones that we always like to check is the Alaska hemp.
And that is,
We've been asking for a filter for this for a long time.
Do you know where that is located?
I thought I just saw it. Yeah, right there. Soil suitability for industrial hemp. Just down a little bit, down like 4.
Oh, I was looking for the Alaska specific little code. Like there's the peony flower suitability. Okay, Alaska hemp or hemp. Let's view the rating. It looks like a poorly suited, moderately suited, not suited. Okay,
that's so not suited will be Not suited would be something that it just doesn't have enough information to calculate the suitability.
Oh, thanks for sharing that.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and put that in our shopping cart. And I saw that peony, so let's go ahead and see if it's suitable for peonies. View that rating. Oh, looks like a lot better. So again, green is good, red is less good or less suitable. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my shopping cart. You remember where the small greens was located?
I don't. Vegetative productivity, maybe?
Excellent. Potato index.
Small grains productivity index.
Yeah, so let's look at we'll start with the potato index. View the rating. Again, it's looking good. So let's put that in our cart. And then let's do that small grain one.
I think I actually misspoke, Mo. When it does say not suited, that does mean it is not suited for whatever interpretation that was. That must have been one of the maybe permafrost soils there. I think it'll tell you if it doesn't have enough information to calculate the rating.
Again, small grains, looks like there's definitely some areas of suitability and some areas of not as suitable. So we're going to add that to our shopping cart. Okay, and again, there are so many. You can look at soil chemistry. There's tons of interpretations that you can pull. You can pull ecological site index, all sorts of things. But for now, I think that's plenty. So let's go ahead and go to our shopping cart. And we're going to give it a custom title of NenTot 125. Since it was a 125-acre parcel, we're going to check out. And again, I'm going to put an email to myself. This should come in just a minute or two. Has been scheduled. Close that. So there's another way that we can look at areas of interest. While we're waiting for that email to come in, we're going to go ahead and close or clear the current area of interest. I'm going to zoom out a bit. Oh, zoomed out too much. So we're going to zoom back in a little bit. And that 125-acre parcel was roughly here. So I'm just going to make my own area of interest, covering most of that phase 1B offering. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go all the way to that drill pad. So it's creating an area of interest. And again, you would start by going, I start by going to the soil map, download, it's a much bigger area. It's 1,300 acres, but there's all the different soils in it. You just start adding it to your shopping cart and run whatever interpretations you want to see. I heard a little ding saying that my my email for the web soil survey is in. I believe you're seeing my email, so go ahead and click on that. And then boom, here is a custom soil report for the NenTot 125. There it is. Gives you some, read through the preface talking about how the information was put together, thanks to the NRCS, and then contents of it, the soil map, all, of those soils, and specifically land classifications, the non-irrigated, under land, the wetlands, the industrial hemp, peony flowers, potatoes, and you just you just scroll down to see all that information. I think that was it. Did we have more, Mike, that we were going to talk about? I think we were just going to open this up, and I was going to tell people if they have questions, my comments. If you need to contact me, I'm Erik Mo Johnson. You can call me Mo or Erik Johnson, and my email is erik.johnson@alaska.gov. Here's a picture of me from high school. So with that, I thank you for tuning in to another NenTot Tuesday. There's going to be more series coming, so please come to the Nenana Ag Expo in June. I believe it's on June 5th or 6th. I'll have that better information in an additional series. But for now, thanks again and have a good day.